Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. Bit of a special video today. I'm out of town, had to run out for 48 hours, so couldn't get into the studios, but I wanted to get a video out there about Deshaun Watson trade rumors because I've seen a number of stuff across Twitter about the possibility of the Browns doing their homework on Watson and whether or not they could be real, I guess we'll call players in the market to trade for the star quarterback. So after the criminal cases or the no indictment was charged against whatever the legal stuff is, basically, it looks like Deshaun Watson is going to be playing in 2022. So it's just a question of where. Now, a couple things we got to note to kind of lay the foundation for this. Deshaun Watson has a no-trade clause. What does that mean? If he doesn't want to go to a team that the Texans are looking at trading him, he can veto it. It's that simple. So the Browns could come in with the best offer, but it doesn't matter if Watson doesn't want to play with the Browns. I also think an important thing to note before we even look closer into the idea of trading for Watson is he is going to be, in the thick of things for a little bit when it comes to a potential suspension from the NFL. There's 22 civil cases filed against him. Even if those all disappear and he settles outside of court, the NFL is not just going to turn a blind eye, in my opinion. Remember, they suspended Big Ben. They did the same thing for Zeke, and those were just one civil cases that were never found criminal charges. Nothing was ever charged against them, but still, the NFL came down with a bit of a hammer. Now, maybe the NFL goes, you know what, Deshaun Watson, you sat out all of 2021. That was your suspension. We're not going to have you miss more games. You are a star quarterback in this league. We can make money off you on the field. Let's do that. Let's not have you miss any more games than needed. As for the idea of the Browns trading for Watson, I was sitting on the plane yesterday waiting to take off and just scrolling on Twitter, seeing a lot of Browns Twitter people talking about the idea of trading for Watson, whether or not Cleveland should do it. So I've long said that I don't think a quarterback trade happens for the Browns this offseason unless it is for a clear and obvious upgrade. Only 3 quarterbacks fit that criteria: Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson. Wilson's in Seattle. Wilson goes from Seattle to Denver. Rodgers stays put in Green Bay. Watson's the only one left. Now, there's been some talk of Watson being interested in the Seahawks or maybe the Panthers. Haven't heard much from his camp of an interest in the Browns. I've heard interest maybe from the Browns side of things for Deshaun Watson, but at the end of the day, we come back to, is Deshaun Watson interested in the Browns? Because he's got a no-trade clause. So if he's not interested, then there's not much of a discussion to be had. But I want you guys to weigh in here. Let me know what you think. Do you just want the Browns to trade for Deshaun Watson? He's got baggage, right? There's a lot there, and I'm not going to be the morality police, and I don't even want to, dive too much into all that stuff because you're going to piss off half the group. But I think it is worth noting that you're going to be trading for someone who's got 22 civil cases filed against him. And I'm not a lawyer, so if I misspoke or something, you can blame me in the comments. I don't really care. But it is taking on a big thing that's going to be a bit polarizing, I guess, for the fan base. But let's call a spade a spade. The Browns signed Kareem Hunt, and we saw what he did. It was on video. So I really don't want to hear too many people that are pissed about the idea of going for Deshaun Watson, but maybe turn a blind eye to Kareem Hunt. And this is the NFL. This stuff happens way too often, honestly. But fan bases and teams find a way to just not look at it too closely and go, you know what, let's just move on from that instance because at the end of the day, we want to win. And quarterbacks and good quarterbacks are the best way to win. So talking more about Deshaun Watson trade rumors, though. I don't think he ends up in Cleveland. I guess I should have said that earlier. He just has a no-trade clause for reasons kind of like this, where even if the Browns come in, and let's say a trade looks like this. Let's say the Browns call Houston. Andrew Berry says, we're going to give you our 13th overall pick in this draft. 2 more firsts, 2023, 2024. We're going to give you an impact player like Grant Delpit or Greedy Williams. And we'll give you a second-round pick. Maybe that's not even enough for Watson, but 3 firsts, a second, and an immediate starter. You can look at that and go, I'd rather keep all those picks. And I don't know if you're completely, wrong for saying that, but a good question, at least a rule I like to use is if you combine all those picks, are they better than Deshaun Watson? And if you're just looking at football terms, what he did last year, he was the NFL passing leader. Threw for 4,900 yards, 4,800 yards in 2020, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So if you look at the Browns' last couple first and second round picks and go, well, what if we did this trade a couple years ago and we gave those players, we're talking about giving up, not having Greg Newsome, Jedrick Wills, J.O.K., Grant Delpit, right? Not forgetting anyone. Last 2 firsts, last 2 seconds right there. Yeah, I could see why you'd say I'd rather have those guys than Watson, but we have those guys and a quarterback, and we didn't go very far this past season. I get it. Baker was hurt. And I do believe that Baker will bounce back in 2022. But I don't think a Baker bounce back season is better than Deshaun Watson, right? Baker at his best I don't think is better than Deshaun Watson, at least what we've seen from both of them in their young careers so far. So with that in mind, I'm kind of intrigued about the idea of trading for Deshaun Watson because you could bundle those picks and, you put them together, and I don't think they're better than Watson. And especially when you think about Deshaun Watson taking, hopefully, the Browns deep into the playoffs. So you're giving up a 13th overall pick this year. And the next season, hopefully Watson and the Browns, if he's on the team, are all the way in the AFC playoffs into the Super Bowl, right? So hopefully that first-round pick you're giving up is like realistically something like the 29th overall pick, right? Love for it to be the 32nd, but let's just say it's somewhere between 26 and 32. Are you going to miss the 27th overall pick that much? Are you? We're not talking about giving up first-round picks because I think we are, but when you talk about giving up first-round picks, you tend to just naturally gravitate towards early first-round picks in your mind, especially when you think far ahead. But if you're the Rams, do you really care that you gave up your 32nd overall pick for Matthew Stafford? No, it got you a Super Bowl. And so I think that's got to be the train of thought of trading away future picks. Don't look at the last couple drafts because Wills, and well, not Newsome, but those were earlier picks. So I think that's a better baseline to go along what a trade package could look like for Deshaun Watson. So what do you guys think, though? I've already asked, but I want to know it again. Do you want the Browns to go out and trade for Deshaun Watson? If so, would you do that trade I just suggested, right? 3 firsts, a second, and a player like Grant Delpit. Would you do that trade for Deshaun Watson? Let me know in the comment section. Like I said off the top, I'm sorry, couldn't get to the studios today, out of town, not even in my kitchen right now. But there's just so much juice out there about a trade with Deshaun Watson. Enough smoke on Twitter that even if it's not too realistic, it's a conversation that should be had. And that's what we're going to do here on the Browns Report. We break down the latest news and rumors. So if the Browns are doing homework on Deshaun Watson, we're going to scrap a mailbag and talk about that instead because that's the biggest story right now for the Browns because you're seeing a bunch of teams make some big splashes. And when I say a bunch of teams, a lot of them are AFC teams. Wilson goes from the NFC to the AFC, so it got that much more difficult. He just added another star quarterback into an already loaded conference. So do the Browns go into 2022 bringing a knife to a gunfight? It kind of feels like that when you've got all these star quarterbacks, or do they decide to get some big boy ammunition and pull off a trade for Watson if you'll do it? Because at the end of the day, we come back to we can have all these mental gymnastics of what a trade could look like and whether or not you would want to do that. And should Cleveland trade for Watson because of all the legality issues. But at the end of the day, does Watson want to come to Cleveland? Because he's got a no-trade clause for exactly moments like this where he goes, thanks, but no thanks. All right, that's going to do it for us. I got to go back to my family because they're going to be upset that I've always stepped away for this long. So we'll catch up with you guys later here on the Browns Report. But until then, go Browns.